On a quiet Sunday morning, a bus driver in his early 50s named Winston Douglas drove through the streets of Peoplestown, Atlanta on his usual route. He slowed down to go around a woman who he noticed was using a walker while crossing the street. Suddenly, a mysterious young man who must be in his early 20s caught his eye. What was unusual about this man was that he was carrying a rather large and very sharp knife. Douglas had a bad feeling about this. Just as the bus driver was coming to grips about this potentially negative situation, things took a turn for the worst. The man crept behind the unwary old woman, pushed her down and started stabbing her before she reached the sidewalk. Uninhibited, the man continued the attack in broad daylight. The passengers who were witnessing the assault had a terrible feeling about what they were seeing. At this point, Douglas had seen enough. He slammed the brakes and brought the bus to a screeching halt. He kicked the bus doors open and quickly armed himself with a sturdy 2x4 from the neighboring construction area. He rushed towards the woman, who was now in immense pain from all the stab wounds. The bus driver raised the 2x4 above his head and whacked it on the attacker's back several times to separate him from the old woman. Covered in her blood, the attacker stood up and tried to flee from the scene while Douglas and a couple of bystanders ran after him. They finally caught up to him and tied him up before informing the police about the whole situation and calling for an ambulance in the process. The passengers had seen enough and ran to the 63-year-old Terry Bradley's aid until medical help arrived. She was rushed to a medical facility where she was kept for a little over 4 days as she recovered from the wounds caused by the attacker's knife. It was later confirmed from the knife-wielding man's mother that he was going through some emotional trauma and had missed taking his medicines, due to which he had that violent episode that day. He was soon hit with several battery and assault charges. When things settled down, Douglas decided to visit Terry to see how she was recovering. Terry immediately had tears in her eyes and had nothing but gratitude for the bus driver who had saved her life. "You're all I had to help me," cried Terry. "I just did what anybody would have done," said Douglas. The story goes to show that even when all hope is lost, there are still good people in this world who'd risk their life to save yours without giving it a second thought.